For 135 years, Family and Children's Place has been helping families and children in our community by preventing child abuse and family violence, stopping it when it does occur, and helping those families and children who are hurt to find recovery and healing.
Initially, after being overwhelmed of the cycle of eat, sleep, repeat every 3 hours with the baby, any help was welcome.
Working with the HANDS program has been really wonderful. I can't tell you how much Natasha has really come to feel like a part of our family. I know that sounds weird. It was an instant connection. She was such a good fit with our family and just so reassuring, because I think that was the part of motherhood I was least prepared for, is how overwhelming it is and how you don't know what you don't know. And so just having that support person that came to visit you weekly and someone that truly believes in our family.
Just the fact that somebody is willing to come over and invest time in our family on a regular basis and saying, how can I help? What's going on? Are there any issues? That's huge.
I always felt like I was being set up against all these other moms who were doing everything right and their kids were in color coordinated outfits. And I remember one of my sorority sisters posted a picture of her baby and she's like, "It's pajama day at daycare." And I'm like, it's not every day pajama day at daycare, because that's what I send Powell in like every day. So having HANDS has been really nice and reassuring, because it's like, that's not your priority. Your priority is to help your child meet these developmental goals. Your priority is to build a relationship with your child, to bond with your child, to set that foundation of trust up for your child in the future.
I think being able to take the time and talk about what is, our goals and milestones, but that actually gives us time to think about, okay, so what do we really want for Powell?
So being in HANDS has been a real game changer for us when it comes to confidence, because babies can't tell you, babies use crying for everything. I cry when I'm hungry, I cry when I'm tired, I cry when I need to be changed. So there's not a lot of communication that you can get from your child just to know if you're doing it right. So for us, HANDS has been such a confidence booster to know that we're doing the right things for our baby.
As a result of the program, we're able to really rest on knowing that we are doing everything that we can and that we are setting him up for success with all of the tools that we have available for us.
All I can usually remember is how close and how awesome our family was. We were so close-knit. We never spent 5 days apart. We would always go and have Christmases and Thanksgiving always down at the lake house, and that was kind of our safe spot. So whenever I got to go there alone with my grandma and my grandpa, I was so excited, because we would go down there, have a good time. My grandmother would always cook these wonderful meals. And then, one day everything took a turn. I was around the age of 5 years old. That is whenever my grandfather in the garage decided to expose himself to me. And it just kind of, again, took me for surprise. And then at that point, he ended up, touching me more. And the abuse just continued week by week, year by year, to get more and more intense. The abuse would just take place anywhere. My grandmother could be in the kitchen doing dishes, and in the living room, my grandfather, would be doing whatever he possibly could. So the abuse went on till I was about 12 years old, and it just became too much for me to put on to myself. And I thought the best way to first do it was to kill myself and to put myself out of the world. But whenever I came to and that wasn't the case, I was pretty upset. And my parents decided, you have to see a counselor. We don't know what's going on with you. It is time for you to go see someone. And at that time, I kind of told my counselor what had been going on. I believe that's whenever he called the Family and Children's Place. Going into that and having all these people around me that believed my story, especially for the past 12 years of being told no one will believe you, you are the only one. And then in a flip of a hat, I have all of these people that are there for me. So that was what was such a huge difference and started to change my life right then. I went to counseling at, with Family and Children's Place 3 times a week, sometimes twice a day, for 3 years, and sometimes even more than that if I needed it. Just trying to change my focus onto everything that could be in this world instead of what it has been. I believe that, kind of like a beautiful piece of china, that's how I kind of started off in this world, and then I was completely crashed. I was broken, and I feel like Family and Children's Place kind of put this gold glitter on this china and pieced it back together, and I'm actually beautiful, more beautiful now than ever, inside and out. Because of the Family and Children's Place, I'm here today, and to me, that means the world.
So a lot of clients that I see do come in who have been victims of sexual abuse. This child was one who was much younger. So this was a child who was about 5 or 6 years old. At the time of the abuse, she was about 2 or 3. When I sat down with the family in my office for the first time, I could tell that they were really, really hurting. There was a mom who brought her daughter in for therapy. This mom did not speak any English. So it was a unique situation because I was able to utilize our language line, which is the translator source that we use, and was able to get someone on the phone to translate. And I thought the language barrier was gonna be something really heavy, but that mom, I'm telling you, depending on what language you speak, everybody feels pain. So that's something that I really felt strongly from that mom, is that she was in a lot of pain and she really didn't understand how this could happen to her family. And so with this child being younger, kind of the first stage that we needed to do is, what is sexual abuse? Defining what that means, and how to know when someone's touching you inappropriately, and how to be able to say no, and how to have your 5 safe people. We always say we have our 5 safety network. Who's 5 safe people you can go to if something doesn't feel okay? And then being able to incorporate, how do you know when you have an icky feeling in your body? Where do you feel it in your body? How can you tell one of your safe people that you feel that feeling? So at the end of this, they were able to define what trauma was. They were able to know when something didn't feel right. This was a mom who, when she came into me, could not even begin to allow herself to feel, right? Because she had to put this strong face on for everybody. And at the end of this, not only was she able to allow herself to feel, but she came into a session with me in a space that felt good to her, in a space that felt safe and comfortable to her. And she cried for 20 minutes. And I sat there with her. And I let her cry because she needed that. She hadn't had that. She hadn't known that that was okay. So at the end of that 8 to 10 months, she knew it's okay for me to feel pain for what my baby went through. And now I know that it's not anything I did wrong, that I did a lot right by bringing her to therapy, because a lot of times when families come to therapy, this is expectation that something has to move really fast. But I'm gonna tell you what I learned with this family is that the journey of 1,000 miles starts with one single step. And them coming into therapy was a big step, and it was able to get them the healing that they needed and the healing that they deserved. When I see this little girl today, I see a little girl who knows that there's a rainbow at the end of the storm, because she came in and her family was torn apart, and she thought that it was something she did wrong, and she didn't do anything wrong. I see a strong girl who knows her boundaries, and she knows that she can say no, and she knows that if something takes place around her, that it's not her fault, that she doesn't have to assign any shame or any blame or any guilt with that she's resilient and that she's strong.